This conference will now be recorded.
Noted. Good morning, everybody. I am Dr. Shankar. I am going to take the topic renal vascular disease. We know vascular disease and renal vascular disease both are the same. Before going to the topic, we should know what's the blood supply of the kidney. Here, from the aorta, the blood vessel going to kidney is called renal artery. This renal artery further divides into segmental artery. It is noted in the picture. From below upwards, first is renal artery, then second is segmental artery. Then this blood vessel go to branches as interlobar artery. Then it merges with each other and produce arcuate artery, resemble like arcuate. From the arcuate artery, cortical radial artery supply the blood to the cortex. These are called the afferent arterioles. These afferent arterioles enter into the pelvis and supply the glomerulus. And the side. Before that, this.
Oh, the same.
From the glomerulus, the vein started. The vein started an efferent arteriole. This is the blood vessel going away from the kidney. That's the efferent. The efferent artery receives blood from the peritubular capillaries or vasa recta, which is a small capillaries in the glomerulus. It joins to form the cortical radiate veins. These veins join to form the arcuate vein, and it supplies it delivers to the interlobar vein, renal vein, then inferior vena cava. Renal artery stenosis. What is renal artery stenosis? Renal artery stenosis. Occlusion of the renal artery. It usually presents with hypertension. Then what are the causes of renal artery stenosis? Number one, atherosclerosis, which is more common in elderly age group. Then fibromuscular dysplasia. Third is the vasculitis. Then thromboembolism. This thrombus formed in the anywhere in the body. From that, the embolus dislodged from the particular area and occlude the renal artery. It is called thromboembolism. Then renal artery aneurysm, the dilatation of the renal artery. Then what is the presentation? The patient usually presented with features of hypertension, severe headache, giddiness, sometimes vomiting also may occur. Then second is the asymmetrical kidney. That is, one kidney becomes contracted because of the disease. As a result, the aldosterone mechanism altered and hypertension occurred. Then, because of this elevated hypertension, the patient going for flash pulmonary edema. In this renal artery stenosis, because of the damage, there will be a sodium alteration, that is leading to bilateral pedal edema. Then peripheral vascular disease of lower limb and going for renal failure. How will you diagnose? First of all, you do the renal function test. What are the renal function tests? Blood urea and serum creatinine. The normal blood urea is 40, minimum 40. Then creatinine is 0.1. Yes. Then if it is elevated, renal creatinine is 1 milligram. If it is elevated, it indicates that the kidney is going for damage. Then second thing, we do ultrasound abdomen. Here, why we do the ultrasound abdomen? To assess the size of the kidney. Any contraction of the kidney or reduction in the size of the kidney. Then any stones in the kidney. Then CT angiography and MRI angiography to assess any block or any stenosis. Then Doppler, it is also used for assess the level of stenosis. What is the treatment? Because of symptoms of hypertension, you must give antihypertensive. Usually, commonest is ACE inhibitors. Second is to avoid the thrombus formation, we give statin, that is atorvastatin, and low dose aspirin in atherosclerotic disease. Low dose aspirin means 75 milligram or 150 milligram. Then last is percutaneous renal artery angioplasty to remove the stenosis. Then next topic is acute renal infarction. This is due to sudden occlusion, immediate occlusion of the renal artery. It is mainly caused by thromboembolism, as already mentioned, then or atherosclerosis. Sometimes it may cause multiple infarct in the renal parenchyma of both kidneys, going for symptomatic, either hypertension or CKD. Then, what are clinical features? The kidney is situated in the line. So, whenever there is any infection, the patient gets severe line pain. Then, hematuria, blood in the urine. Then, elevated LDH and CRP, which are the inflammatory markers. It is diagnosed only by CT scan along with renal parameters. Treatment is, as already told, anticoagulation like aspirin, heparin, and clopidogrel. Then stenting to be done to improve the status. Then disease of the small intrarenal vessel, there is microvascular disorder going for acute renal damage. This is a common cause of hemolytic uremic syndrome and thrombotic thrombocytopenic purpura associated with E. coli infection. Sometimes familial, drugs, and cancer. Then second important thing is disseminated intravascular coagulation. Then coagulating factors consume encephalopathy, that is coagulopathy. Then malignant hypertension. What is malignant hypertension? BP is elevated more than 180 systolic, diastolic of 110, end organ damage, along with that's a papilledema, this edema of the chest. Then fourth is small vessel vasculitis, then systemic disorder, systemic sclerosis, and cholesterol emboli, that's atheroemboli. What is hemolytic uremic syndrome? It is a thrombotic microangiopathy which causes damage to the endothelial cells of the microcirculation. There are two types: typical HUS, that is hemolytic uremic syndrome, atypical one. Typical usually follows infection, most commonly by E. coli. Atypical is sudden medicine, genetic mutation in complement pathway. It is often accompanied by swelling of the endothelial cells in the biopsy, increased platelet adherence, and intravascular thrombosis. The increased adherence or platelet produce intravascular thrombosis. Then the patient going for anemia because of, and there is reduced platelet count leading to thrombocytopenia. Then raised unconjugated bilirubin, then that is liver enzymes are elevated because of the hepatic involvement. The treatment is fluid replacement necessary. Dialysis is one of the most important treatment for this. Because for thrombocytopenia, you give platelet transfusion, plasma exchange. For anemia, RBC transfusion. For infection, you must give antibiotic. Whenever you give antibiotic, you avoid aminoglycoside, that is gentamicin and streptomycin. All these things should be avoided. Then another category is thrombotic thrombocytopenic purpura. It is an autoimmune disorder. It is mediated by antibodies. It is characterized by 5 components, that is thrombocytopenia, microangiopathic hemolytic anemia, neurological manifestations, fever, and renal impairment. It should be immediately treated. The emergency treatment is plasma exchange. Then corticosteroids should be given. Aspirin and rituximab also have a role in the management. Then systemic sclerosis. It is a disease of intimal cell proliferation. As a result, luminal narrowing of the intrarenal arteries and arterioles. It is produce increased vasospasm and renin activity, leading to severe hypertension. Then going for progressive oliguric renal failure. The treatment is AC inhibitors and renal replacement therapy should be done. Then tubulointerstitial disease. This disease usually affects the renal tubules and interstitial components of the renal parenchyma. What is the function? Produce tubular dysfunction with electrolyte abnormalities and leading to moderate level of proteinuria and renal impairment. Variable degrees of renal impairment. Acute interstitial nephritis. The acute inflammation affecting the tubulointerstitium of the kidney. The clinical causes are: one is allergy, that is drug induced, penicillin, proton pump inhibitors, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, and mesalazine. Then immune for causes: autoimmune nephritis, transplant rejection. Commonest infections are bacterial pyelonephritis, tuberculosis, leptospirosis, and virus. And toxic are myeloma light chains, mushroom. These are the toxic agents. Clinical features as already present renal impairment. In drug induced, there's a hypersensitive reaction may be there. Fever and rashes may occur. When you examine the urine, there's proteinuria. Sometimes the patient had uveitis. Then, how will you approach the diagnosis? Renal biopsy is the commonest. It shows intense inflammation with infiltration of the tubules and interstitium by polymorphonuclear leukocytes. These polymorphonuclear leukocytes infiltrate in the tubules and interstitium with inflammation. Then eosinophils may be present, white blood cell and red blood cells in urine, but the culture is sterile. Management, if it is due to drugs, withdraw the drugs. Then high dose corticosteroids may be given to recovery. Dialysis, short-term dialysis. Next thing is chronic interstitial nephritis. It follows acute interstitial nephritis. It is characterized by renal dysfunction with fibrosis and infiltration of the renal parenchyma by lymphocytes. In acute, it may be polymorph nuclear lymphocytes cells, here plasma cells, macrophages in association with tubular damage. The commonest cause is, as already told, acute interstitial nephritis going for chronic. Second thing is glomerular nephritis. Immune or inflammatory causes, sarcoidosis, SLE, and chronic transplant rejection. Then toxins like lead, mushroom, volcano, drugs like which produce all acute interstitial nephritis, then infection. Congenital causes are vesico-ureteral reflux. Repeated vesico-ureteral reflux produce chronic interstitial nephritis, renal dysplasia. Metabolic and systemic disease, electrolyte disturbance like hypokalemia, hyperoxaluria. Clinical features present with CKD, essential to hypertension and small contracted kidney, hyperkalemia going for acidosis, minority people present with salt losing nephropathy, hypotension, sodium and water depletion, and renal tubular acidosis. Management is correct the acidosis and hyperkalemia, replace with fluids and electrolytes, renal replacement therapy. Yes, if it is irreversible. Then reflux nephropathy. It is known as chronic pyelonephritis previously. It is usually associated with vesico-ureteral reflux and there may be scars in the kidney. Clinical features usually asymptomatic. The patient had proteinuria and features of CKD. There may be risk of renal stone is high. Investigation, ultrasound 1 to assess the size of the kidney, CT and MRI to assess the progression, scarring of the kidney is seen, then picturating cystourethropy. Treatment, antibiotics. Sometimes prophylactic antibiotics for recurrent UTI should be given. Nephrectomy if in abnormal kidney with minimal function. Then papillary necrosis. It is a disorder of kidney in which all part of the papillae dies. It is due to ischemic damage. Commonest cause diabetes mellitus, sickle cell disease, and long-term ingestion of non-steroidal inflammatory drugs. Clinical features as similar as sometimes asymptomatic, sometimes patient presented with renal colic and renal impairment due to renal obstruction. The investigation, urine analysis, the patient gets sterile pyuria and hematuria. Pyelography should be done. Management relieving the obstruction. Then sickle cell nephropathy. It is due to sickling of the RBCs in small renal blood vessels. There will be hypoxic environment in renal medulla coupled with slow blood flow in vasa recta power sickling of the RBCs. Clinical features, polyuria, distal tubular acidosis, impaired potassium excretion and papillary necrosis. Yes, thank you.